Okay, first things first, you're not supposed to be here. Basically, nobody's supposed to be here. It's not that nobody's supposed to see this, it's that nobody's gonna see it. Because it's going to be a very uninteresting video with no real point to it. Already, my channels get like 40 views tops on a good video that I actually make with a lot of effort. And that's part of why I'm doing this. Excuse me, I'm going to be clearing my throat because I'm not going to edit this video very much. And that gets me to my first point of what this channel is, what this video is. The question is, why? Why, my friend, are you doing this? Now, basically what it is I've got a YouTube channel. It's gonna soon be 2 YouTube channels because I've got 2 kind of different kinds of content that I'm trying to make live together. It's Awkward Genius, and that's interesting. I said I was gonna link to them, but I'm not gonna, because nobody's ever gonna see this video. The point of this video is that on those 2 channels, I've noticed from the beginning, that's why I've got the name of my first channel was Awkward Genius, is I'm not very good at talking to camera. I don't sound like a real person, I don't sound like I'm talking to a real person, or when I do, I'm super boring. So, there's that. I noticed that right off the bat, probably what I wanted to say. And so I leaned into it. I found a kind of cadence when I'm on camera for the Awkward Genius that kind of sets me at ease. It makes it easier for me. Kind of staccato, takes some breaks, but despite all that, I'd actually like to learn to get better at talking to camera. And so what I did is I started this new channel, The Awkward Genius Talks, and I'm just gonna turn on the camera. I said every day in my brain, but that's probably not gonna happen because I've got a lot of other stuff going on in the old life. I'll probably talk about that because I'm gonna talk about just about anything that pops into my brain, pretty much just to get me talking. But instead of just sitting here and babbling, which is definitely what I've been doing, I have actually made myself a list of topics for today, because I think that is eventually how this is going to go. I'm actually going to have something that I do want to say when I come on to, when I turn the camera on. And then I'm going to try and say it and go through, hopefully just with bullet points, like people that are good at YouTube do, because they know what they want to say in their brain and they can make their mouth say mouth sounds correctly to do it. So I'm going to start off with, this is the why. I've been kind of going through that because I've got a couple of YouTube channels. Hello, Oslo. Come on up. Good boy. You want to say hello to everybody? This is my dog, Oslo. Over here, Oslo. Look it over here. No, don't get into that. That's on the table. You're not allowed to do that. So I've got these YouTube channels. I need to learn to talk to camera. So I'm just turning the camera on and talking. And with the expectation, rightfully so, that nobody's ever going to see these videos. You'll see it because you're here for it. What are you doing? You know you're not going to lick my face. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. We don't do that. You come up to say hello. That's one thing. Can you get down for me now? Thank you. So the why of this video, of this channel, maybe of the universe? No, I'll actually get into that. I know not the meaning of the universe, the why of the universe, but I know the meaning of life. I will get into that at some point. Not today, but I've got that in my back pocket. Is basically just to learn to talk to camera, because I have noticed that YouTube is, not only is it all performance, which I guess is to be expected because it is like a media platform, but that performance has become so over the top with what they're calling the Mr. Beastification of the YouTubes. So everything you see is people just giving it 110%. And that's a thing. It's a thing people could do. That's not what I want to do. Basically, from the beginning, when I looked at making a YouTube channel, because I'd never really even watched YouTube or anything, and my sister was like, "Oh, we're gonna make a YouTube channel. You should make a YouTube channel. You should look at YouTube." And so I looked at it, and I was like, "Hey, I'll make a channel. Why not?" But from the very beginning, I looked around of what people were doing, and I saw people shilling or like pretending to give you advice and then try to get you to buy stuff. And I just looked at all of it, and it was just so soul crushing. And I was like, I'm definitely not going to do any of that. And then also the overly excited performance thing, not my style. I'm not against performance. I think that actually makes it more interesting, which is kind of the point. But I'm definitely more of a Norm Macdonald than a Will Ferrell style. No, I don't even yell as much as he does. So just very low key. What was the? Who's that comedian who was very, very low key? I always say Wright, Sam Wright, something like that. Anyway, doesn't matter. Like I said, nobody's gonna see this. So that is the guiding principle of why, just relax, man. There's no performance because there's no audience. If there's no audience, can there be a performance? Or are you just performing for yourself? So, not only was that the YouTube way overly performative, kind of fake, and then now that leads into the next big thing on YouTube right now is authenticity. Everyone has to be super authentic in their over-the-top performance. So there's that. But basically, my favorite channels have come along to just being. Wait, doggy wants to go out. You might hear him whining in the background. He'll go out right after this. My favorite channels have been basically what comes out is like the norm or this very authentic, which is what people label them. Like, oh, look at him, he's so authentic. It's basically just a guy turning the camera on, talking about a thing, and ignoring the fact that this is YouTube and you should be like shouting and doing explosions and stuff. Not only are those my favorite channels, but that's kind of what I look for. Like as I'm scrolling through shorts, and they're all performance, and they're scripted, and they've got this like big overarching idea and a lot of stuff going on. I think a lot of people, not young people probably, and YouTube is 90% for them. But I think a lot of people, or at least I do, just want to turn on YouTube and just see a normal person talking. It's kind of a holdover from the COVID days when we didn't see very many normal people talking. And also, just kind of where we're going with things. So the other thing is, I kind of touched on this, is I'm not 22 years old, so I'm not going to be doing a lot of bodybuilding content. And I believe that YouTube, while it is like 90% young people scrolling through shorts, that not only is there a pretty decent audience of people over 50, say, but that audience is only going to keep growing, because my generation, I think, what are we, Gen Xers? We grew up with enough technology that we're going to kind of follow this wave. We might not be the first ones into YouTube, but I mean, that was only 7 or 8 years ago that the real pioneers really started. And so now I think it's time for the Gen Xer. I can't even say pioneers, because there's definitely a lot of people that got there before me and have been there and are established. But I think it's much less so than amongst the younger generation. And I just think there's room. It's something that for some reason I want to do. and it seems like there's room to do it. Like there might be a reason to do it. There might be an audience. But the reason to do it is just because it's fun and I like doing it. And it's, a lot of people get kind of depressed. I've seen people that are like, oh, my videos that get like 5 views, and mine usually get 100. So it's not 5. I always feel good about that. A couple of them get more. The very first one I put up got 120,000 views. So that's interesting. But I find it very freeing knowing that nobody's going to see this. Like every doubt you have, every perfectionist impulse, it's just like it doesn't matter. Like if you're gonna draw a picture and then just hang it on your wall, and no one's ever gonna come in your house, then it takes all the pressure away of this having to be something. It just is what it is. You put it up. That is the why of this video. Why you're not supposed to be here, like I said. I'm happy that you are, if you are one person who's probably watching this. But you're not supposed to be here because this just isn't what YouTube would consider to be a good video. It's going to be way too long. It's going to be super boring. And most people, if they do click into it, they're going to immediately click out because it's just a guy talking. And it's going to take a while for me to find an audience of people that want to watch just the guy talking, just this guy talking, and all of that. Topic number 2, multiplication tables. So I've been doing multiplication tables with my 10-year-old, and he really quickly got to the same place I am, which is when you do the whole table, 1 times 1, 2 times 2, and the whole table, you realize that you get like 80, 90% of it pretty quickly. Up to 5 is pretty easy. And then after 5, there's only 10 of them. There's 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s. And then there's a couple of those that for some reason, like 9 times 9, people tend to remember. Sometimes a little bit easier with like the 6 times 6, 7 times 7, 8 times 8. But then you get down to where I've crossed out the ones that my kid has got down. I've just been drawing them on one at a time. Because the ones that are left, there's really nothing you can do but just memorize them. And even that, like you get it into your brain and then it leaves. But I just thought it was interesting that multiplication tables we think of as being difficult. And that's just because we can't remember like 6 or 7 different multiplications. We've got the other 60. But the fact that we can't remember 7 times 9, well, 7 times 9, not too bad. 7 times 8. 7 times 8. Oh. 6 times 8. 6 times 9. It's pretty quick. For an adult, it's pretty quick to do. Okay, 6 times 10 minus 6. You can get there. But all the other ones you've got in your head, 6 times 6 is 36. It's just there. And the fact that we consider multiplication tables to be difficult, but that's basically because we can't remember 5 of them. We've got the other, however many there are, let's say 17,000. But we can't remember a couple, so yeah, I don't know my multiplication tables. Secondly, the second point on the agenda today is bananas. Now, a lot of people have bananas like this, and my advice to you, my point on bananas today, and I'm going to try and find the camera. When I say talk to camera, look at the camera. Throw the bananas in the compost. You're not going to make banana bread. You think you are. Yeah, I'm pointing a banana at you. You think you are, but you're probably not. And so, you should probably just move on and get new bananas. Now, a couple of things about bananas. You certainly should make banana bread. I brought my recipe book here, just in case you don't have a good banana bread recipe. Now, what I do often, and this just makes a loaf, so this isn't necessarily one of those cases, but I break every recipe down to 1 egg, because the egg is the only thing that you can't really divide. Speaking of multiplication tables, that you can't really divide easily. 2 cups of flour you can break down any way you want to. 1 egg, a little bit more complicated. So I tend to break all the recipes down to 1 egg, see if it works. And then that's how I write them down in my little recipe book. So I don't know if you're going to be able to read this. I'll put it up just for a second. I don't even know where the camera is or if this is going to be good. Hello. So basically, I usually do it with 3 smashed nanners. That would be smashed bananas. 2 works just as good. That's all you got. These are small ones. It still works. It's going to be a banana flavored bread. So you've got your smashed nanners. 1/3 melted butter. Smash those together. 1/3 of a cup of melted butter. And then you put in a teaspoon of baking soda, a little bit of salt. And then 3/4 of a cup of sugar. That 1 egg, some vanilla, 1.5 cups of flour. That's it, man. Mix it all up. You've got banana bread. It takes literally like maybe 8 minutes, probably 6. You get one of those loaf pans. I'm looking at here. I'm saying it's a 4x8. Butter it. You can either use the stick of butter or when you're done with the stick of butter, just take the foil wrapper. It's still got butter all over it. Just use that to butter everything. You can even butter and flour. So that means after you've done the butter, you put like maybe a big honking spoonful of flour in there, and then you shake it all around so that it's kind of got a coating of flour on it. And then I'm looking at 1 hour at 175 degrees Celsius, 180, however your oven works. Excuse me. So that is bananas. Last thing about bananas, I make smoothies every day in a magic bullet. So when my bananas get like this, and I've come to the harsh realization that I'm not going to make banana bread, I slice them, freeze them, and then they go into my daily smoothie. Like this morning, I had toast and peaches for breakfast. So I usually add some, I want to say nuts. A lot of times it's almonds, walnuts, and a smoothie. And that's my breakfast. So there you go. Fourth point on the agenda today is my advice. I'm going to try and end every Awkward Genius Talks video with some advice. Or just something that I've been thinking about that seems to work. Or might work. And I want to try. Today's advice from the Awkward Genius Talks is go to bed early. Now, because I'm getting old, and I'm going to joke a lot on this channel, on these videos, that I am old, mostly because I've just reached the age where I am no longer young. And once you're no longer young, you have switched categories somewhat. I am only, excuse me again, probably middle-aged. Everybody kind of picks what they want as how they're going to talk about themselves or which category they think they fit into. I like to lean into the old thing because I think it's kind of funny. I've got this joke with my mom who is obviously older than I am. Last time I saw her, I said, every once in a while, I just get like a little weird ache or, something that just feels like it's not put together correctly. Do you ever get that? And, that's someone who's in their 80s or soon to be, who's older, is in their 70s or 80s, who hears that. I'm pretty sure that their brain is just going, "Ah, you stupid! You're so Of course, it just gets worse and worse, and so anyway, so I'm not yet old, but yeah, like I said, no longer young, and just when you start feeling those first little inclinations, like the eyes going at 40, where you used to be able to see perfectly, and then not so much, and then you're just blind, like that kind of stuff. Just, I think part of when I get this whole thing down, what the channel is going to end up being about is kind of that transition. Basically of just being our age. because, like I said, not much of YouTube is. So I think it's an interesting place to talk about it. So go to bed early. Not very stellar or new advice for somebody who's 80 years old, maybe. They may have already figured that part out. Here I'm talking about somebody who, or I'm talking to people that are kind of coming off of being young, basically, and thinking, and still having that inkling to, stay up late, watch TV, now be on your phone or be on Netflix or YouTube or something. And basically what it comes down to, this is something I may do as a video for my more constructed channel where I kind of organize my videos. I've been thinking of doing an early wake up challenge to kind of make myself get on the schedule all the time, because I don't do it all the time. But part of the rationale for that video is going to be this advice here, or this rationale for going to bed early, is that, for me anyway, I do the same stuff if I go to sleep late, or if I go to bed early and wake up early. And I'll look at my phone. I might watch some videos. I'm gonna play some online chess. And the thing is, if I go to bed super early, which sometimes I do, sometimes my boys go down and I'm just zonkered and I go straight down like 9 o'clock, super early. The thing is, my body and my brain won't let me sleep more than like 6.5, 7 hours. So I'm up mega early. If I go to bed at 10 or 9, I wake up mega early. So I'm doing the same kind of stuff. We're watching YouTube, Netflix, I don't know, doing stuff online, looking at the news, the weather, and the last one, whatever it was, online chess. But the thing is, if I'm doing that in the morning, it's waking me up and getting me to the place where I can kind of start my day with a lot of those distractions out of the way. A lot of the stuff that I'd want to be distracting myself with, I already got an hour to do that this morning, or 2. Where instead of doing that just before going to bed, where like those distractions are like the payoff at the end of the day, we're like, okay, now you can do nothing. For me, I feel like it's just more worthwhile to get the sleep, and then use the blue light from the phone, which wakes you up, which tells your brain to stop sleeping, to do that right when you wake up, instead of doing it right before you're supposed to go to sleep. So anyway, that's my advice. Go to bed early. All the stuff you're going to do to waste time, it's more worthwhile to do it in the morning. And then also a lot of stuff I do in the morning that I just wouldn't do at night, I find more worthwhile. I might hop up and do some work, or do some work for some personal stuff. Or I may just get out and take the dog for a walk. Also, you want to go for a walk? And he likes that. So I think that's what I'm going to do now. Yeah, good boy. You're a good boy. So that is the end of the very first Awkward Genius Talks. I did have on my list to do a sign-off song, but I don't think that's a good idea. So I think I'm going to end with Awkward Genius advice. When I do these videos, it's probably already been almost like a half an hour. I'm going to go ahead and put this up. I was going to say throw this up, but that's kind of a weird image. Put this up on my channel as the first video. And then I'm going to try and do these regularly until I not only get comfortable talking to camera, because just talking to yourself in an empty room is easy, but where I get good at it to the point where it actually feels like I'm talking to somebody. Because today I feel like I'm just kind of talking to myself, and at some point I want to get the sense that I'm actually talking to, well, you, creating a community, and basically doing this the way it's supposed to be done. So there we go. I don't have a sign off, so I'm going to just stick with the one I've got for the Awkward Genius. This video is over. You should go now. I got stuff to do.